We're joined by someone who worked directly with the former president, May Mailman, former Trump attorney, current director of the International Women's Law Center. It's good to see you again, May. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
When you see this list of potential running mates at this event for Trump right now, what name immediately jumps out to you as someone who would both help Trump and win over some voters?
So the name that I see that seems to fit that bill is Tim Scott. That's who I've thought for a while now. A couple of things. One, because of Trump's age, he wants to pick somebody who people can see as presidential, not as vice presidential, but at the same time, not outstage Trump, not be the star of the show. I think that's Tim Scott. He ran for president. It wasn't a successful run, but he didn't fall on his face. And so he's got that. Plus, I do think that Trump is hopeful for the black male vote, at least a larger share of it than last time. And, who knows whether Tim Scott will help with that, but he certainly won't hurt. So he's got a lot of things going for him.
Any other contenders at this point that you're tracking right now?
So, Doug Burgum is personally wealthy, and I think that has to be something that Trump considers because the Trump campaign could certainly use the money. But I really don't see Kristi Noem. Elise Stefanik, I think, is possible, but maybe the person is not even on this list. We've still got a while before the RNC, the convention. And, as long as he's got the pick in before then, that's really all that matters.
I have to ask you about Governor Kristi Noem. In her book, of course, writing about killing her 14-month-old dog Cricket in a gravel pit and then also killing a goat, she says, because it was, quote, nasty and mean and smelled disgusting. She's been posting on X this week. She gave an interview trying to clarify all of this. What are her chances on the ticket at this point? And do you think she was ever a serious contender?
So I don't think she was ever a serious contender because I don't think she brings anyone extra. So anyone who likes Kristi Noem already was going to vote for Trump. This is why Mike Pence was so perfect. Donald Trump had this New York billionaire playboy vibe to him. I mean, still does have that. And Mike Pence brought over a more evangelical, a more Midwestern, a more establishment, traditional conservative. Kristi Noem already is a Trump lackey. She was not going to bring in additional people. Yes, she's a woman, but I don't think that she would necessarily bring in the female vote like potentially a Tulsi Gabbard or even Elise Stefanik would, because Kristi Noem is just seen as a female version of Trump. So the dog story is, it's funny. It's good to talk about how dare she shoot her dog. And that'll die, I think, eventually. I don't think that actually will have any effect. I never saw her as a potential in the first place.
Yeah, and I mean, funny maybe to some people, really horrifying, I think, that we've seen for both sides of the aisle, the reaction so far. A very last question I want to ask you. I know that you've been in the room at events like this in the past, where people are, trying to throw their hat in the ring, trying to be complimentary, trying to stand out with Mr. Trump. Give us some insight. What is this like for the former president this weekend? I'm sure he's enjoying himself.
Yeah. And, Mr. Trump likes to test the room. So if he has all of these potential vice presidential candidates who are all going to be very complimentary of him, and he likes that, who wouldn't? But he also wants to get the scoop from these donors. So he's going to be testing the room. What do you think of Tim Scott? What do you think of Kristi Noem? What do you think of Elise Stefanik? What do you think of J.D. Vance? And everyone's going to be able to give their opinion. So I think the donors are going to enjoy that because they're going to feel like they're being heard. And, at the end of the day, it's Trump's own decision. But I think he will like kind of digging for dirt and getting the sense from the room. That's my sense of how Trump likes making decisions, is he wants to hear a lot of opinions.
Very quickly, Governor Ron DeSantis not at this retreat, but we do know he met privately with Trump last weekend. Any realistic shot from him? Do you see a path forward for him as VP?
No, I don't think Governor DeSantis would want it, and I don't think Trump would want it. So President Trump wants, I think, and should have someone closer to Mike Pence, somebody who is going to just be a loyal supporter. Governor DeSantis is somebody who really did think that he should have been president, and he didn't run a Tim Scott style campaign. He ran a, I really do want to be president, not just support Trump. So I don't see that as happening.
Okay. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.